All right, welcome to seventh period. I hope that you are doing well tonight. I appreciate your being here, and I appreciate the time that you're spending investing with your into your son's education. My name is Sean Morgan, and I'm teaching your son's Honors Algebra 1 course this year. And tonight, I just want to kind of break down a little bit of who I am, or the kind of the approach that I'm taking to the course, and then some of the goals that I've set for this year, and some of the expectations I have for the boys. And hopefully we'll be able to do that in 5 minutes and you can hear me all right. We've had a little bit of some tech issues earlier, but I think we got that squared away. And so I appreciate those of you that are watching at home. First of all, this is my 14th year here at Christian Brothers, and it is a year like no other. So although I've been here for a good long while, this is we're in uncharted territory. So I feel like I've got that fresh and renewed energy like a first year teacher would almost. I chair the math department here at Christian Brothers, and I also coach baseball and the mountain bike team. So I like to interact with the boys in the classroom, obviously, but also outside the classroom with some extracurriculars when I can. And so that's a good way for me to get to know them and for them to get to know me. My goal this year for your son, particularly taking Honors Algebra 1, is that I help him acclimate, not just to high school, not just to Christian Brothers as a whole, but also to this sort of semi-virtual learning environment that we find ourselves in. I use the word acclimate because it's taking an adjustment, not just for me, but also for the students as well. And so part of my goal this year is to help them learn how to learn in this kind of new environment. And I think that lesson will serve them well in the future. Heaven forbid something like this happens again, but things can change, trends can be adjusted, and so he will, after this year, your son will be very versatile and ready for whatever life throws at him in education and in the real world outside of the classroom. Obviously, there's going to be some gaps that I try to fill from not just the fourth quarter of last school year, but just in general. Coming in as a freshman, these boys really do need a strong foundation. We find in our department that the students that take calculus, for example, they don't struggle in calculus, they struggle with the algebra. They have foundational gaps, little holes, little weaknesses. And so my goal for this year, one of my goals is to fill those gaps, to make sure that your son is ready and that he is standing on a firm foundation. Building that foundation is going to involve obviously lessons on new material, but also cycling back to some other material. It's an interesting fact that, well, for example, like on the ACT, over half of the material covered on the ACT in the math portion gets taught to a boy in either pre-algebra or algebra 1. It really is a wide range of material that your son's going to be going through with me this year. So it will be a challenge, and part of my job is preparing him for that challenge. Speaking of challenging, I'm going to be pushing the guys to succeed. Personally, a little bit from my story, I was really good at math and never had to study and never had a problem, never got challenged at all until I got to algebra 1, and then it was like, oh my goodness, how do I deal with this? So part of this year is going to be where I try to push your son into an uncomfortable academic scenario where he might not know what to do or how to answer a problem, and he's got to figure out, okay, well, how do I get over this hurdle? I'm going to be helping him along the way, talking about how to study, how to take notes, how to ask intelligent questions in class. And so part of this year is meant to be a struggle to teach your children, to teach your sons how to get over those adjustments. And then last but not least, I always like to talk about communication. To me, communication is the key. If you ever have any questions, if you ever have any concerns, email is the best way to get in touch with me. My email address is smorgan@cbhs.org, and I usually can respond within about a day or so. And again, if your son has questions, tell him to come see me. Don't let him ask you to email me. Say, hey, if you've got a question or problem, bring it up to Coach Morgan. I'm very personable, very happy to talk to these guys. As far as my expectations of them, they need to turn in everything. M in the grade book stands for missing. That counts as a 0. That's the kiss of death. So even if it's after the fact, tell your son, make sure you're turning stuff in, Coach Morgan. I'm very flexible, very lenient as far as getting things turned in. Is better late than never is the way I look at it. And then just come in to see me for help. At the end of class each day, sending me an email, if not seeing me in person, if we have office hours as an available option, hit me up, ask me for help, and I'm happy to do that, as well as our teachers and our peer tutors that meet in the math lab, on a weekly basis, if not daily basis. So again, it's a pleasure to have your son in class. I've gotten to know them pretty well over the last month or so, and I really have enjoyed our time thus far and looking forward to a good rest of the year. I'll leave you guys, as I leave all my classes, by saying, live Jesus in our hearts forever. And thanks again for your time this evening.